Namaste, Jai Bharat. Today is the birthday of His Holiness Dalai Lama. Dalai Lama is the ruler of Tibet from a long tradition, but he and his government is in exile in Bharat. Of course, Dharmashala. And it's almost nearly 70 years or so that His Holiness Dalai Lama had been in Bharat with a lot of followers, Tibetans, and the Tibetans in Bharat, gradually became one among us. But they are really citizens of Tibet. They are distinct. They coexist with Bharat because they have a great tradition. The Buddhist tradition, Buddha is one among us. The Buddhists are technically one among us. But they have a kingdom. They have a separate nation, which is illegally occupied by China. I think China is gathering all this sin upon the nation by doing such things. There is a theory of karma, law of karma. The Hindus will call it as karma, and the Buddhist calls it as praditta samutpada. I need not to go further into explaining. The Buddhists call it as praditta samutpada, and somewhere in the distant past, China, they are also Buddhists. They call themselves communist, which really is not really the case. Except for convenience, they are not communists. They are not communists except for convenience. Of course, convenience is criteria to many people in geopolitics. That's an issue. So they should also getting the impact of praditta sampada or karma, or as the Upanishads will say, vasana. So it is the birthday of His Holiness, a real scholar and a noble in capital letters, noble soul. But I used to think, maybe right from childhood, that why is it that we did nothing to liberate Tibet from the clutches of China? China's army invaded and took over Tibet. Then the Dalai Lama had to flee. He took political asylum in Bharat. And then what? All these Congress rules, the years of Congress rule did nothing. Did nothing. Of course, they did nothing in many things. And Modi's government was only for 10 years. They had to correct a series of mistakes done by the Congress all these years. Actually, Bharat has really become free now, only with Modi's government coming. Only now we have become Bharat. Previously we were India. It's now that we are slowly becoming Bharat. They did nothing so significantly to make Bharat Swabhimani, Swavalambi, and of course Atma Darbar. All these things started recently, very recently. So I cannot accuse the present government because their priorities were plenty. Their priorities are different. There are plenty of work to do and the time was short. Time is short. And much to do in very short time. So they must have not paid that kind of attention which Tibet demands from Bharat. Tibet deserves rather from Bharat. But then something should be done. I do not know what to be done. I am not a political authority. Nor will I make any advices because that's not necessary. Those who are holding things know what to do, and their wisdom is not very questionable. So they would do. I think in time they would. This is just waiting for time. And Tibetan students, of course, I know them personally. Many of the students from Tibet, Dharmshala, they come to study in Gujarat in particular. In my university, there are plenty of Tibetan students. There is no difference between them and the other students sitting in the class, or they speak all languages equally. Well, listen to their names. Just because of the names and with their appearance, we feel that they are Tibetans. I've seen something strange with the students of Tibet. Same name is there for boys and girls. Sering. There is sering among boys also, sering among girls also. I don't understand this. And of course, they all have studied Milarepa way back in Dharamshala. And they are all well rooted in tradition. Great people, great warriors, excellent students. One of the best students that we have in our university are the Tibetan students. Very good students, very cultured. Of course, they are born into culture. They are born into a system. They are born into the Buddhist fold. And of course, for a Hindu, Buddhists, Jains, Sikhs are never different, never separate. They are a part of us. Oh, they are a variation of us. But this thing still remains. Why Tibet is unattended? I don't know what should be done, but then something should be done. It should be brought into the international arena. Tibet must get justice. Tibet must get freedom. There are all kinds of talks in the entire world for freedom of people, and Tibetans are a distinct people. They need their autonomy. They need their freedom. Why should they be under the domination and rule of a different set of people, the Chinese? The Chinese are not Tibetans, and Tibetans are not Chinese. And the greatest thing for Bharat is that if Tibet is independent, we won't have any borders with China at all. We won't have any borders with China at all. And Tibet is a vast land. More than half of China is Tibet. We will not have a headache. Because China has this habit of going into everyone's, every neighborhood and encroaching and claiming. We won't have any problem if Tibet is free. But even for that advantage, our erstwhile Congress government has done nothing. I don't know, they were maybe too concerned about offending China. Let China be offended. Why should you bother? Let them be offended. Why should you try to please anyone through some policy of appeasement? That's my feelings. Anyway, very happy birthday to His Holiness Dalai Lama. And another political dimension which I just forgot. There is a Lama tradition. This Lama tradition is that his descendants will be known to the Dalai Lama, that who shall replace him next. That's a great tradition, long-standing tradition that has been happening for centuries. He will know who is the next Dalai Lama. That is how things were going on. So I think that he has identified his next follower, which of course the Chinese communist, so-called communist government is more wiser than His Holiness Dalai Lama, and they say, we will decide who your follower is. What the hell? What the hell? The so-called materialists, I don't think that they're not spiritual. The so-called those who don't believe in spirituality, they would decide who should be the next Lama. Now this is anachronistic contradiction. Very, very kind of A stupid kind of expression that we will decide who your followers are. You have no business there, you have no logic there, your categories are different. Tibetan categories are different. You can't do that at all. If they try, no one's going to accept you. They want you to do that. Of course, that's not possible. It's His Holiness who would decide who will be the next His Holiness. This is nothing new. It's a tradition that happens in Bharat in many places. Many places. It's a year back that in a mutt, I won't tell the name, in a mutt, there His Holiness had found his descendant, brought him. He was given the charge. On special invitation, I was also there. I used to be otherwise associated with him. Great person of great wisdom. Advaita Vedantins. So we shall meet again with some other thought. Namaste. Jai Bharat, Jai Siya Ram.